everyone, welcome to this Forge College Explainer. Today, we're diving into using breakpoints effectively. As part of our Ethereum Dev Stacks and Frameworks course, specifically the Debugging Transactions module, we've been looking at some serious advanced debugging techniques. And look, let's just be honest. Console.log can only get you so far before you absolutely lose your mind, right? So today, we're going to see how using breakpoints effectively can actually save your sanity. I mean, raise your hand if you've ever stared at a reverted transaction, looked at a completely mangled storage slot, and just thought, where on earth did this all go wrong? If you were with us for our last lesson on assessing historical data accuracy with proof of history, you already know how to read the aftermath of a transaction. You're great at pulling logs and reading the final state. But today, we're going to learn how to catch those pesky bugs right in the act. We're moving from reading the wreckage to watching the dashcam footage. Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First up, welcome to the stakeout. Then, breakpoints as time snapshots. After that, we'll dive right into the investigation, and finally, wrap it up with the standard operating procedure. Let's get to work.
All right, Section 1. Welcome to the stakeout. Moving past post-mortem guesswork.
So doing post-execution inspection is basically like arriving at a crime scene after the culprit has already fled. You see the yellow tape, you see the chalk outline of your precious token balance, but you have no idea how it actually happened. To move past that guesswork, we need our most powerful tool, the breakpoint. Now, a breakpoint is really just an execution stop inserted into a trace to record the current machine state. Think of them like high-definition security cameras. They literally pause the execution at a specific instruction so you can inspect the exact context, the variables, the stack, the memory, at the precise moment things go off the rails. It's pausing time mid-flight. Moving into Section 2, breakpoints as time snapshots. Let's talk about choosing your mapping lens. When you're setting up the stakeout, you gotta realize that not all breakpoints are created equal. It's a real trade-off. Usually, you'll want to start out with highly readable source-level breakpoints, which map right to a Solidity source line. They are super easy to read, but if aggressive compiler optimizations end up hiding your code or maybe inlining a function, that source-level breakpoint might completely miss the mark. When that happens, you have to fall back to the ultra-reliable EVM program counter breakpoints. This maps to the numeric program counter, giving you absolute, undeniable precision at the lowest possible level. And it's not just about where you put the camera, it's about when it should trigger. Unconditional breakpoints halt as soon as the execution point is reached. That's great for a simple check, but imagine a transaction with a massive loop. You definitely don't want to sit there clicking continue 5,000 times. That's where conditional breakpoints come in. These evaluate a specific condition, like checking if an amount is greater than a certain threshold, so your tracer only halts when those specific, suspicious parameters are met. It is a total lifesaver for your time and sanity. All right, Section 3, the investigation. Let's talk about actually isolating a failing transaction. Let's put this into practice with a real-world example. Say we've got a token transfer reverting inside a multi-step execute transfer function, and the recipient's balance is just totally wrong. We have to follow the evidence. Our post-execution insight tells us the recipient balance slot is lower than expected. So Action 1, we start our investigation right at the function entry with a source-level breakpoint just to make sure the initial inputs are actually correct. Then, we capture snapshot 1 to verify those sender and recipient balances. If everything looks good there, Action 2 is placing a conditional breakpoint on the exact line where the net amount is calculated. We're systematically narrowing down the hiding spots for this bug. But wait, what if the plot thickens? What if your entry snapshot is perfectly fine? The math looks solid, but the final emitted transfer event is completely corrupted right before the revert. Well, if your inputs are clean, but the output is poisoned, that means the mutation happened somewhere in the obscure middle, very likely during an external call to another contract. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly when you need to drop down to your EVM program counter mapping. Placing an EVM PC breakpoint right at the opcode immediately after the external cal returns lets you catch the exact cali return data that poisoned your storage state. You can inspect the sload and store pairs, those read and write operations, to see exactly how the external call misaligned your storage. It is surgical precision. To pull this off effectively, your magic number is 2. You need a minimum of 2 snapshots to actually make a case. One snapshot showing healthy, expected inputs, and a second snapshot showing the mutated, incorrect state. Having both lets you definitively bracket the problem and narrow down the root cause to the exact opcodes sitting between those 2 points in time. Let's bring it all home in Section 4, the standard operating procedure. This is your practical debugging workflow. To wrap up all this theory, let's condense it into a simple, repeatable, 4-step standard operating procedure you can take straight to your desk for your very next bug. Step 1. Identify your candidate points by tracing backwards from the corrupted storage value. Step 2. Choose your mapping. Start with source level for readability, but absolutely do not hesitate to fall back to EVMPC. Step 3. Add conditional filters so you aren't drowning in false positives. And step 4, run the trace and extract a full snapshot containing the PC, the stack, the memory hex dump, and the call data. That complete context is your golden ticket. But hey, before you pop the champagne, you must validate reproduction. Always rerun your trace against the failing transaction hash. Why? Because a valid breakpoint must reliably halt at the same program counter every single time, under identical conditions. If it doesn't reproduce reliably, it's just not a usable artifact, and you'll need to tweak your breakpoint conditions. Ultimately, this quote perfectly summarizes the whole philosophy of advanced debugging. You are building a defensible artifact of evidence. You're shifting from, I kinda think it broke here, to, I have the exact snapshot proving the memory shifted at this specific opcode. It takes all the emotion and frustration entirely out of the process. Which leaves us with one final, very exciting question. Now that you have these precise timed snapshots, how on earth do you decode the raw memory dumps left behind on the stack? Well, that question sets us up perfectly for our next lesson on memory and storage analysis. Until then, thank you so much for joining this Forge College Explainer. Practice these techniques, get really comfortable with the EVMPC, and be sure to visit forge.college to master more Web3 development topics and take your skills to the absolute next level. See you next time.